If you're 3 years in to your auto repair shop business or more and you're still doing everything yourself, you're probably doing it wrong. I'm Dean from the Workshop Whisperer. This is the original Workshop Whisperer herself, Rachael Evans. Welcome to today's episode of Talking Shop. So if you've been running your auto repair shop business for any longer than 3 years and you are still the go-to person for everything, tell us, why are you doing that wrong?
There's no break from that. There is no break from business if you are the one still doing everything. And very occasionally these days we might come across that unicorn person that has been in business for 20 years or more and they just prefer it just being them. And they might be in some kind of niche part of the auto aftermarket, so maybe they're doing restorations or something like that, but that person is rare. If you are still running solo at the 3-year mark and that is not your end goal, then we really need to look at what is holding you back apart from yourself. And I include here if you are potentially a husband and wife solo team. So if you've got husband who's check on the floor and we've got wife potentially part-time on the service desk, but we don't have full-time service desk coverage and we don't have anyone assisting in the workshop, you cannot leverage your way around that until you have some help on the workshop floor and you move to full-time service desk help. So how do we get in the position where we can hire those first true employees of the business? Well, it all comes down to how your margins are currently positioned, because you will need evidence that you can still support your family, because at the moment it's all going to yourself or to yourself and your partner. And making sure those margins are in place so that you actually have an attractive package to offer the first team member that's going to come and work for you. So if you are the technician owner, the thing you want to discover about yourself is, do you enjoy the tools, and is that where you will generate the most amount of money for the business in this next growth phase that you're going to go through when you hire someone? If the answer is yes, your job is to be on the tools. It's full-time service desk coverage that you would hire for first. If it is not the place you ultimately want to be long-term, then you might consider hiring a technician first, or at least hiring an apprentice. And I do recommend that in either situation, you are leveraging what's happening on the workshop floor with at least the help of an apprentice, because then we can start to, in some cases, predictably sell more time than we're actually spending on vehicles.
Yeah.
Up until that point, it's hard slog.
Yeah, the best solo operator that I've ever seen in the time that I've been involved in the Workshop Whisperer, which is coming up on 8 years now, was doing about $50,000 a month. But for most solo operators,
that's a total unicorn.
That was the only time.
Yeah.
Max out at about $40K a month. We find that's about as far as they can get.
And that is working night and day.
That is working night and day. And the key here is that I've not spoken to anyone that said they started their own business so they could have less time, less money, and less freedom. But that's what happens at 3 years if you haven't started to replicate yourself. Because if it's only you, when you take a break, so does your income. And you lose the biggest leverage you have, which is the money required to invest in your future, so that your investments work harder than you do, and you're not still carrying every can into your. Well, I was going to say 50s and 60s, but into your late 40s and certainly your late 50s and 60s. It's why you got to look at ways to leverage your knowledge, leverage your skill, and leverage the time that you have available in your auto repair business.
And that doesn't mean that employing your first team members is going to be smooth sailing, and you're going to have scary times, and you might even find it difficult to ease your way into leadership. Nobody starts out in business as the perfect leader. My goodness, we still learn things daily about leadership, even though we've been in this business for more than a decade. And that's the way it should be, because we should be continually evolving. Maybe you went into business thinking, maybe you're a mobile mechanic and you're thinking, I don't ever want to have a team member. I'm okay to save throughout the year and that'll do me for when I'm on holidays. Great. If that's your plan and you're happy with it, awesome. But if you are in a fixed workshop premises and you're 3 or 4 years in and still haven't figured out how to leverage money to hire that first employee, like that's seriously where you got to reach out, because we have the tools that can help you.
Yeah. And you might love it now, but in 5 to 7 years' time, it might be a different, a different story or a different desire that you've got. And as that famous saying says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So if you're still the bottleneck, if everything runs through you, then now is the time to actually start putting in place what you need to bring others on board to share the load with you.
That's it.
We'll see you on the next episode of Talking Shop.